Alrighty, fellas, good morning, good morning. My name is Patrouski. Welcome back to another PokeMMO stream recap, your daily source of tips. Yesterday, I didn't realize until I was doing the timestamps for the stream recap that I introduced yesterday's stream recap to PokeMMO tits. I didn't even notice how bad I butchered the intro. Anyways, PokeMMO tips, tricks, advice, conversation, whatever is happening inside the community. This is the daily source for it. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and if you do, always like the videos, subscribe, support, go above and beyond if you want to. YouTube memberships, Twitch primes, stuff like that can support the channel, allow me to actually make daily content. I really appreciate you guys. Let's get into the stuff you're here for, the resources, the information, the forum posts that people don't want to browse through because the forums are kind of an archaic medium, right? Let's go over the catch events first things first. Well, you know what? First things first, someone brought up PokeMMO Shiny War videos. Dude, there are so many amazing PokeMMO Shiny Wars videos being uploaded. Please, if you can go to Google and look up PokeMMO Shiny Wars recap, PokeMMO Shiny Wars 2025, check out some of the amazing underrated content being uploaded. I am partial to, dude, Effie Burke's video. I need to watch it with my wife still. I've watched that video like 3 times. I've posted it on my YouTube community posts as well. Effie Burke's video is my new favorite PokeMMO video, maybe of all time, at least of 2025. That video is like everything. When I think of MMOs and I think of grinding, that video is everything. It is literally the South Park World of Warcraft episode, but in a PokeMMO video. And it's just exactly like the vibe, like it's exactly what MMO players want, okay? In my opinion. It's beautiful. Anyways, let's get into the events. Catch events coming up in Pokemon. If you don't know, catch events are a great way to passively win a shiny or win some free RP, the premium currency. It's one of the only ways to win some premium currency as an Ironman account. It's linked over my YouTube and linked many other places. I linked it all over the place. We'll get to it after the intro though, Sparkle. But there's a Chikorita / Johto starter catch event coming up on August 23rd, this Saturday. So this Saturday, 3 p.m. ET at Route 29 in Johto. You're going to have 1 hour to catch as many Pineco, Hoot Hoot, Rattata, and Sentret as possible. So not actually the starters. Thank you so much, Danny. But then the prize is going to be a 6x31 or 6x... You could technically do a 6x0. It's 6x selectable IVs. So if you want it to be 6x0, you can. You could also, for example, make the Chikorita or like the Typhlosion 5x31 and then 0 attack to lessen damage on foul play. That could matter. But also 1,000 RP, winning free RP right now before event season. A very smart thing to do. Go ahead and play those catch events, man. Okay, Tropia's catch event coming up as well at 1 p.m. ET on Sunday. So back-to-back catch events on the weekends. I'm loving, this wasn't always the case. People are sleeping on the fact that PokeMMO has, like, I think moved. It wasn't always like this. I feel like they moved all their catch events to the weekends. Like Saturday, Sunday catch events. This was not always the case. For a very, very long time, they were during the weekdays. And I feel like over the past maybe 1 year or so, maybe a year or two, they've really moved a lot of things over to the weekends, which is really cool to see, man. Obviously a base change. Route 119 in Hoenn. Tropius technically on Phoebus. We've covered this event many times. There is a shiny Tropius up for grabs, which once again is a difficult shiny to hunt for, so to get one for free from a catch event would be phenomenal. Recommend going for that, plus 1,000 free RP. Next up, we move on from our catch events over to some forum posts. This is a really simple one. Someone said, is market manipulation allowed by TOS? And what he means by this is, like, there's different MMOs would call this different terms, whether it's merching or investing or even trying to like really manipulate, you know, an item price. Like if people wanted to buy up, I mean, for a while, people bought up a lot of Cobons. I was heavily invested in Cobons, and because of that, some people bought up Cobons, you know, to be totally honest, and they kind of spiked up in price. I kind of just sat on mine because I didn't want to, you know, feed into that, but Cobons have now gone down to like 32,000 Pokeyen. But I think this guy, there was one post, Rogue Master, in my opinion, explained it perfectly. I was reading through this and I was like, this is the definition that I agree with. So Roadmaster goes on to say, if you mean market control by gatekeeping some items, Pokemon with high price, or control the supply by buying them out, this is okay to some extent. There's never been a problem with this in PokeMMO. Yeah, this is the nature of a small market. He gives an example, like last year during the Halloween event, people quickly buying up Twisted Spoons, Gem Clusters, and Psychic Gems after the first strategy was found. It's a form of market manipulation, but also a privilege of undisclosed information they make themselves, and I think it, by essence, is approvable. Yeah, I think this is totally fine. It's just one of those things of an MMO market. I think I think it creates stories. I think it's interesting. It's not always like the best for everybody, but I think it's fun, and I think it's okay to have those inequalities sometimes in the market for short periods of time. And whenever someone tries to manipulate an item, you can always fuck them by not buying an item, right? If you just don't buy the controlled market item, if you don't need to, right, then the person holding the item wastes all their capital and they get punished, right? But this is a good, okay, one form of malicious intention in joining the market. And he basically goes, yeah, this I talk about this all the time. If you continuously relist 100 RP at the price of 1,000 RP, right? That is not okay. That is not market manipulation. That is like intentionally trying to get someone to misclick, and that is considered scamming in PokeMMO, which is kind of a arguable thing. You know, should that really be considered scamming? I like the rule, but I understand if someone is against it, right? I totally get that. It's not like an objective thing. It just is the rule, so you got to kind of deal with it, right? If you were to relist a 100 RP voucher over and over and over again, and have to be multiple times and very, very obvious, then that usually they will be like, hey, also for 2.2 mil, not like, if you're listing it for 220, that's fine. But if you're relisting one over and over and over again for the price of a 1001, obviously the only way reason you would do that is to try to get someone to misclick, right? So that is a bannable thing, and they have cracked down on that over the past year or two. That wasn't a problem for a while, but I think that they wanted to stop people from just, number one, it's scamming people and tricking people. Number two, it's spamming the market over and over and over again. So they wanted to crack down on that, and they successfully did over the past year or so. Next up, a person talking about legendary sinks and permanent raid balance, which is something that I love to talk about, especially like given like how kind of rough and slow the market is right now. This is Jim28. He says, hello everyone. Since the EV items from the Heatran raid, the magma like cubes or magma rocks or whatever, they've already lost their value less than a year after the raid was released. Let's go check. What are they at right now? Let's go see. Magma stones. I mean, I wouldn't say they've definitely lost a lot of their value. Honestly, I'm with him. Get ahead of it before things get rough, right? They're down to 4,350 Pokeyen a piece, which is extremely, extremely cheap, and we'll get down to the base price of eventually 1,250 and make it like not really worth it to go recatch Heatran for the most part, but it depends. Let's go back to the post. I had the idea that Heatran Raid shouldn't drop the magma stones directly anymore. Instead, players should have to trade in the actual Pokemon to receive it says EV items, but I think he just means IV items. It's affecting the IVs, not the EVs. I think this is interesting. Like, this addresses two things: the eventual deflation of the cost of magma stones. That's the problem that PokeMMO has, is deflation, not inflation. Our Pokeyen supply seems to be pretty constant and seems to be controlled with item sinks, with things like GTL tax just does a lot of work, a lot of heavy lifting. The GTL listing fee, the breeding costs, like we have a lot of Pokeyen sinks in PokeMMO. What we lack is item sinks and Pokemon sinks, and that causes deflation. And right now we're seeing deflation on things like Heatran, things like legendaries. I've talked for a long time that things like Zapdos, right? Like Zapdos probably should be a Pokemon that holds some value, and it used to be 2, 3, 4 mil, and 2 mil for a while. I think 2 mil is a fair price. Now it's come down to 760,000 Pokeyen. It just goes down. That's the most expensive rotational legendary. Most of the other ones, like Articuno, that aren't nearly as good, are 300k, right? Things like Articuno, Moltres, these Pokemon are like... Moltres is 200k. Like, that's crazy. Suicune's even worse. Yeah, no, I'm just calling out Zapdos as one of the best... That's the most expensive rotational, let alone, honestly, Entei doing well, I assume because of PvP, but yeah, it's rough, man. I would like to see those legendaries be over a mil. I think it's nice to have them be an achievement. When they lose value like that, it makes the encounter less special, and it also makes it so you're losing value over time. They're going to continue to lose value over and over time. The other argument is that it makes them more accessible for PvP, but everything being accessible is not a good thing. You don't want end game content accessible to new players after doing 2 gym reruns. That's too much accessibility to where the game is completed way too quickly, and then you enter the problem that a lot of Pokemon players run into, which is, what do I do? If you're completing the end game goals, like getting roaming legendaries, getting a shiny, getting an edge shiny even nowadays, getting these things too quickly, the game's, what's the point? And the beauty is, like, set your own goals, I get that, but we're making the end game content, in my opinion, too accessible, and I don't think it needs to be that way. And I'm not trying to be some crotchety, like, oh, I've played the game for so long veteran player. Like, no, I'm on an Iron Man account. I've been playing the game from scratch, not being able to trade or use the GTL for 2 months or 3 months at this point. And I'm saying that as an Iron Man, like, I'm punishing myself and pushing myself back, right? Yeah, I understand. I hope people don't think I'm a gatekeeper. There's There's a discussion to be, it's just a valid discussion of, it's not, hopefully it's not gatekeeping. It's just having value to things. If everybody's super, nobody's super, right? And you want things to be accessible, don't get me wrong, because then you have the opposite problem where people quit because it's too much of a pipe dream, which I understand, don't get me wrong. I don't want things to be too accessible, and I don't want them to be not accessible. That's it. That's where I want the middle ground option. I'm not saying new players should never be able to do things. Like, obviously, that's obviously, if you know me and you're charitable to me, it's not my position at all. I would even argue right now, it's harder. I've been saying this for a while. It is harder to be a new player right now in PokeMMO, in my opinion. I think, it's easier to be a medium level player. Like, once you have all 5 regions done, the game really opens up once you start doing gym reruns. Dude, but new players, I don't know what you do to make Pokeyen as a new player. You don't do anything. You become a medium level player. Like, there's no new money making methods left. Like, the new player money making methods are just the medium level money making methods, which are gym reruns, trainer reruns, things like that. Catching for profit is pretty much dead. Not entirely, but it's like way more brutalized. A lot of people haven't played PokeMMO for as long, so don't know, but one of the coolest methods in PokeMMO of making Pokeyen was that you could just go in the wild and catch Pokemon and make profit. I used to do videos showing that myself catching Pidgeys on Route 1 in Kanto and making 200,000 Pokeyen profit per hour as a new player fresh out of Kanto, and I thought it was a good thing. It was a cool thing because it allows, it's not too much Pokeyen, it's like a really good amount for new players to make Pokeyen and get into the game. That was a good accessibility, you know. Make money making accessible, not the end game content. I think that's my argument. Make money making, make things like the ability to shiny hunt, which is with ×5 hordes, make the content itself accessible, but then don't make the rewards super accessible. Does that make sense? You want the rewards to be a long-term goal. You want being able to do the content, being able to participate in the content accessible. I think that's kind of where I stand. I'm kind of, you know, talking things out in live time, but it's a great conversation. But back to this guy's post. He was just talking about legendary syncs and the idea of, I like the idea of like having a timer where like magma stones do drop from the Heatran raid for 1 year. And then after 1 year, they stop. I think that's really cool. I think something like that in the future could be implemented in a really interesting way. And if they plan to implement more permanent raids, I think they've got to factor stuff like this in. All right. Next up, we're going to link this guy's Twitch as well in the description. Check this guy out. This is X Clutch God X. This is a very fucking cool. This was linked to me forever ago, so apologies to him for not getting to it for so long. But this is a fantastic shiny reaction. So I want to give him the proper love that he does. This is a really, really cool shiny. I mean, I love this shiny, and it's a really fantastic shiny reaction. Let's go ahead and just give him his second of joy because this is a really cool. I guess quick volume warning. Volume warning now.
No way!
No way.
No way!
Fuck off.
No way! No way! Where is it?
Also,
Where
did you
is
see
it?
what happened?
Dude!
The fact that his edge animation popped and he got into a horde, like layered it really, really strange. His clap, this is such a fucking wholesome.
Dude, I got Shiny Snorlax! Let's fucking go!
Shiny Snorlax is so
oh my
good.
God! Oh my God!
Also,
we got Shiny Snorlax!
The odds of getting an egg. Do you guys know the odds? Like the math? I don't know the fucking math odds. But the odds of getting an egg shiny, hatching the egg while you're doing ×5 hordes is crazy because eggs you're only doing, you know, 400 or that's nowadays like 500 encounters per I don't know the math nowadays. I'm out of the loop. But like let's say 500 encounters every 5 hours after like making the eggs, hatching them, something like that, right? When he's doing ×5 hordes like this, yeah, so that makes sense. The 10%ish number, that makes Kuroshi. Okay, so it would be about 500 encounters every 5 hours. That actually makes sense. But then you would be doing 1,000 encounters per hour while doing like the hordes. So the odds of the egg being the shiny and not one of the hordes is crazy.
Relax! Holy shit! Holy shit!
This is such a good,
oh my God,
wholesome hype reaction. I loved this,
dude.
Shout out to him. His Twitch will be linked in the description. I saw him live the other day as well, streaming when I was looking up this clip.
No
he actively streams.
Way. No way, dude.
Check him out. An underrated, cool guy coming, like very positive. I loved this clip. Brings me so much joy. Fantastic clip. Check him out. That is X Clutch God X. All right. I think that is every order of opening business I wanted to cover today. I guess one more thing. We have a lot to do today. So much to do today that I actually have a notepad document list of things to do today, okay? I plan to play some PvP until it is no longer fun and I start tilting off the face of the earth as the PvP roller coaster goes. I want to Ditto farm for an adamant 20 plus defenses Ditto. I need to get back to Everstone farming on the Ironman account because I'm down to 1 Everstone, which is pretty crazy, as well as I need to like think about Iron Man. That'll be a different clip in the future, but Iron Man guides, I need to start thinking about those and how I want to approach those, as well as Breeder Raid, Metacham, Jimmy Run, Hoa Refa. I have a lot of things that are like, I have a lot of things to do today. So let's stop yapping and get to work. This is a fantastic question. Hey, Pat, I just watched your recap of how terrible breeding for profit was. I was really shocked. I was like bummed, and I'm sorry. I was like, oh, I can't wait to show people how to breed for profit. And I was like, oh, 50K made in like 30 minutes. What the fuck? Like that's, and part of it's me being out of the game and me like playing an Iron Man account and not being up to date on what's breeding for profit. But still, I have thousands of hours of breeding for profit. I thought I could come back and do better than that. That was still pretty brutal. But you asked a great question. Do you think it'll get better during event season? Yes, 1,000 times yes. Or only when alphas get balanced. Event season brings with it so much demand. Which, yes, that's usually like if people are, because people, what happens with event season is people stop breeding for, everybody stops breeding for profit to play the event. They're grinding the pumpkin boss, they're grinding the wisps, the kids for their special candies, they're doing other activities. And if you stick to breeding for profit and breed for profit Chandelures, for example, or things like Typhlosions, or you know, things like that, you can make some really crazy profits sometimes during event season. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. Like that demand increase is so important during event season for sure. Great question. I think this might just be a case of the Pokedex being wrong. So I might just start doing single encounters here. For some reason, I've been asking for a Pokedex rehaul in Pokemon for a while. Claydol's supposed to be a rare spawn here. At least it says so in the Pokedex. I don't think it actually is. Which like, that feels like a massive problem. Like how are we like, that's a massive mistake. I think it's a very, I think this whole room, yeah. Isn't this whole room just Claydol and Larvesta? So I should have just been single encounter and catching the whole time. Okay, so we can just switch to the single encounter strat. That's good to know. But it's also like, why did it say that? Why would it say that massive? Yes, that's a massive problem. If it says something is rare in the Pokedex, but it's actually a 99% spawn, like that's a massive problem. That's a basic like thing that shouldn't be happening, in my opinion. That's like really, really silly IMO. All right, it is time for either your most favorite or least favorite part of the PokeMMO stream recap, the MOVIETROUSKI takes, okay? If you don't know, my name's Patrouski. I've been watching a lot of movies recently. Do I know a lot about movies? No, I really don't. I just enjoy watching them. I like talking about them. Let's go ahead and jump into it. These are movies I watched over the weekend, or I guess since this was like Friday to Monday. So it was like 4 days I ended up watching, I think like 9 movies. I watched a lot of movies this weekend, man. I watch at least 1 movie a day throughout the year of 2025, I believe, is where I'm at currently. So we're gonna start from bottom to top. It's the order I watched them in. Monkey Man. This is a really beautiful movie. It is the most like from the bottom, now we're here type, kind of like, it's kind of like a, how do I explain it? It's a movie about, it's a revenge movie at the end of the day, which is why it's like not perfect. I think revenge movies, revenge is generally an immature arc, right? Like it's pretty hard to make a revenge movie and be like, wow, I'm so glad he got revenge. What a good, you know, like it's not, it's really just like a, immature is inherently, sorry, revenge is inherently immature, right? However, this movie like managed to not focus on the revenge. They focused on the trauma associated with the original act that caused his desire for the revenge. I thought that was really interesting. This movie is about like an Indian guy who's like an underground fighter, really scrappy, like had to fight for everything in his life. Really beautiful movie. You want to root for the main character in every possible way. He's a good guy. I love this movie. I gave it a 4.5. I think it's a, would I say must watch? I don't know. I don't know if I'd say must watch, but a very, very, very good movie. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, which is a 9 out of 10. And a like. I really liked this movie personally. It just was really beautiful to me. It's kind of, it's like a artsy movie. It's like the least pretentious artsy movie, because at the end of the day, it's just a fucking action movie that is like constant go go. Gladiator is one of the few revenge stories that gets the pass, because that is true. Like most revenge stories are just like immature, in my opinion. Some get the pass. The Revenant, Gladiator, you know, some get the pass because they're so emotionally invoking or whatever. They like, you know, yeah. Anyways, Monkey Man, very, very, very beautiful movie, very, very good. 9 out of 10. Next up, Ideal Home. Ideal Home is such a wholesome movie, very low budget, not the best movie from top to bottom, but it's just really wholesome and it has a lot of heart. Ideal Home has so much heart. It's a movie with Paul Rudd, and I think his name is Steven Coogan, who's a really talented guy, but I don't really know his... Whenever I see him and stuff, I'm happy, but I don't really know his work that well. Yeah, Steven... Yeah. What else is he in? What else can I, like, let you know? But he's in this movie. It's Paul Rudd and him are a gay couple, and they have this, like, young boy wander into their life, and it's just a really wholesome, like... family story. It's actually like really wholesome, really heartwarming, really cute. I gave it a 7 out of 10 or a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, another Paul Rudd movie, Wet Hot American Summer. I watched it for the very first time recently. This is a cult classic. My wife loves it. A lot of her friends love it. Wet Hot American Summer is a very like it's a very cult classic, like dumb comedy movie. I thought it was fine. I'm shocked that this is I watch a lot of dumb comedies, and I was a little shocked that this is the dumb comedy that people chose to be the cult classic. I feel like there are so many similar but better, in my opinion, dumb comedies. I was shocked that this is the one that people obsess over. It's called a period piece. Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah, it's like a satire, irony period piece. It's a movie made in the 90s, but it looked like exactly like a 70s movie, which is kind of like the whole joke of it, I guess. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was good, worth the watch, but not like revolutionary to me in any way. Next up, Joyride. I don't know how I ended up watching this movie. I think it was just on I would have normally never watched this movie, but it's not bad. Like, this movie is specifically aimed at like college girls. Not even that. This movie is specifically, it's a trashy girl comedy aimed at only girls who are in like their freshman or sophomore year in college, and that's it. That's the only... This movie is like really over sexualized in a way that I don't find funny or enjoy, but I respect... If this is your favorite movie, I could understand it. I wouldn't, you know, it's one of those things. It makes me happy. What I'll say is, as a big fan of dumb boy comedies, I'm happy that we're getting dumb girl comedies. I'm happy that girls are getting dumb, trashy comedies too, okay? Boys have dumb, trashy, over-sexualized comedies. We should have some for the ladies as well, boy. Why, you know, are they good movies? Not really, but if they're your cup of tea, more fucking power to you. I gave it a 2.5, a 5 out of 10. It has some really heartwarming, really cute moments. It's about a girl going to find her adopted parents in China, and it's a beautiful movie. Her birth parents, excuse me. Next up, Weird Science. This might catch some... the problem is I just hate 80s movies, I think. And it's not that they're bad. All these reviews are obviously, hopefully it's obvious, but severely subjective. Not that they're bad, but man, 80s movies constantly seem horrible. I constantly 80s movies like make me thankful that I didn't grow up in the 80s, honestly. If they're your cup of tea, more power to you. As someone born in this era, watching them back, it's like the worst era of movies from what I've seen. Weird Science is about two nerdy boys who accidentally create a woman on their computer, okay? And the first thing, they're like creating the woman, and the first thing they ask themselves is, we're creating the ideal woman. Should we give her a brain? And they really sit there and ponder it for a few minutes. And this movie, it's just not even funny. Like, this movie is really horrible, in my opinion. I'm convinced whenever I watch an 80s movies that they are like it's the worst years to just be alive. I think I ended up dropping this movie after 30 minutes. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't do it, dude. They're just not for me. If I respect the 80s aesthetic, the vibe. If it's your like campy cup of tea, more power to you. I can't do them. They're just not for me, and that's okay. Next up, what's next up? The Dark Knight. I rewatched The Dark Knight in theaters for the 4K re-release. Me and my wife have a movie pass, so we pay like $20 a month and we see unlimited movies. It's a banger deal if you go to the movies a lot. We were able to see The Dark Knight for the first, not for the first time, sorry, a rewatch, obviously. It's hard to like, The Dark Knight is really fucking good. Do I roll my eyes when a 25-year-old guy is like, oh yeah, The Dark Knight's my favorite movie? Probably a little bit, but maybe that's a judgmental maybe that's a judgmental problem on me. Because it's a fucking good movie. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a 5 out of 5. It's a really good movie, man. Like, they're not wrong when they're saying that shit. They're not wrong, honestly. So I would give The Dark Knight, I mean, it's a perfect score, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. What else could you possibly give it? I do prefer Batman Begins. We recently watched Batman Begins and The Dark Knight in theaters, and I think I prefer Batman Begins. Dark Knight is go, 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 go at all times. Arguably, it could have been multiple movies, but I respect them. I don't think it needs to be as much as other movies. I respect it. Batman Begins is a much more patiently paced and respecting of the audience attention, in my opinion. And I really like it for that reason. So I really prefer Batman Begins, where I feel like The Dark Knight is like go, 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 like constant action all the time. Batman Begins is like a true origin story, which I really appreciate and enjoy. Next up, that was a rewatch. My wife had never seen iRobot, so we watched iRobot for the first time. This movie, I was in the first 20 minutes, I was like, yo, iRobot's aged super well with AI, yada, yada, yada. Maybe it's actually like really good. Maybe this movie's aged like way better than I remember. Maybe it's like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Nah, this movie's even like, I'm being kind of biased with nostalgia. It probably is like a 7 out of 10, maybe even a 6, but I give it an 8. I love iRobot. I love this era of Will Smith. I think it's a really cute, wholesome movie. I love iRobot. I have nostalgia for it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Next up, I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the very first time in theaters. Once again, more like theaters first experiences. But I watched this for the very first time. This was last night. Last night, I watched this in theaters for the very first time in 4K. I gave it an 8 out of 10. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the epitome of old movies, in my opinion. And like, you have to ask yourself, I'm gonna read my review. You know what? I'm gonna read my review. my review of Texas. I usually write a long review for each of these. If you want to see the full reviews for these, I write pretty in-depth reviews for most movies I watch. I think they deserve. If you're gonna watch a 2-hour movie, they deserve like a 15-minute explanation of what are your thoughts on them. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I said, do you know how disturbing you have to make something for it to still be disturbing 50 years later? Our perceptions are like constantly being challenged. That's really impressive. Step 1. Secondly, the imagery and visuals are just off the charts in this movie. The camera work and video quality is terrifying. There is immaculate, unsettling vibes. But this is definitely one of those older movies where I have to ask myself, how do I want to rate this? Do you rate this? Do you rate old movies based on the standards of the time and just guesstimate based on empathy? Or do you rate them by the standards of today? I usually end up somewhere in the middle, and I find myself like, by today's standards, I think this movie is still worth watching, but you have to trudge through certain aspects. The acting in this movie is downright horrible by almost every actor in almost every scene. So much of the terrible acting takes me out of the certain scenes. We don't always appreciate how far we've come in places like that, but we are a lot better at making movies. Watching an old movie with no nostalgia, watching an old movie with no nostalgia, and you will almost always see this very plainly. The long, unedited shots of someone walking around all 4 angles of a house, the uncut scenes of tying someone up with a rope for like 1 minute, like they're trying to like earn their Boy Scout badge on film. This movie should have been cut down by 30 minutes or so, and it would have been a much better experience. There were a fair many scenes that didn't add any suspense and just felt like a time kill. And the worst scene of the whole movie is there's a chase scene in the forest that is just laughable. There are many parts in this movie that are like laughable. They're like not scary. They're not funny. They're like, well, they're not scary. They're not horror. They're not suspense. They're funny, right? On accident. Overall, the movie is amazing. It's an amazing premise. The visuals are amazing. The cinematography carried. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10, or an 8, like the round up, an 8 out of 10, essentially. That's my full Texas Chainsaw Massacre debrief, okay? And then finally, I watched The Faculty, which is a really, I think it's niche, but I don't want to say for sure. I just found this randomly on Peacock. I was just scrolling through. Peacock has some really niche, weird, bad horror movies, but this was not a bad horror movie by any means. This was a 90s horror movie with Elijah Wood, pre-Frodo. It had Elijah Wood, Salma Hayek, And then Usher is in this movie. This movie is a banger. Jon Stewart is in this movie as a teacher. I don't want to spoil it because like I would watch this movie blind. The description and stuff spoils it, and like the trailer. I hate movies where the description and trailer spoils a big part of it. Go into this blind and just consider it a creative, fun 90s high school horror movie. It's not like that scary, obviously, but it's pretty unique and interesting. The Faculty was really good, man. I was really impressed. I would definitely check it out as an underrated little horror movie from the 90s. I give it an 8 out of 10. So that's the movie Trousky takes of the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you disagreed with. Let me know what movies I should watch next down in the comments. Thanks for watching. What a good question. When was the GTL added in PokeMMO? Dude, wow. So the GTL didn't exist when I started playing. I want to say it was 2014 or 2015. I don't know which one. I don't think it was 2013. I don't think it was around in 2013 quite yet. I think it was 2014 or 2015. It could have been late 2013, but I don't remember. A great question. What if I can Google it and find an answer? When was GTL added PokeMMO? It wasn't for a while. You used to have to trade chat. So trade chat in game was very used. Maybe I'm misremembering terribly. If you Google when the GTL was added, you get a Google AI response that says 2012. I do not think that's true. I'm like 90%. I could be wrong. I'm like 90% sure that's not true. Let's see. Here's a 2015. So in 2015, there was a GTL guide released. This was December 26th, 2015. Let's see if I can show this on screen, actually. I think that would, to me, make sense if it was released in 2015. Let's show this on screen really quick. A great question. It's a really cool, nostalgic. This is cool, man. This is like an OG. Let's show this. Reset. PokeMMO GTL guide. How do you even read this? It's all, he put it in like black letters. Hello, PokeMMO community. This is the guide on how to use the GTL and PokeMMO. This guide will explain many things. GTL Pokemon listings. This is what the GTL used to look like, by the way. Dude, this is what it used to look like, dude. Pokemon listings, item listings, your listings. And it would say, dude, every Pokemon would say shiny, yes or no. I totally forgot about this. And all that UI was like bright white. The UI was like old Windows. It was like white and blue. It was like light. It was like sky blue and white and like yellows like this. Like this like dark piss yellow up here. Or like yellowed white. Look at this, dude. 6,000 listings only. Wow. Shows you how far we've come. Now that's insane. This is a screenshot from the 2015 GTL. There was 6,000 listings. Now there are currently 341,000 listings in Pokemon the GTL right now. That's insane. What a difference, dude. Funny how similar it is in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's good. You're not wrong. It's really beautiful. It's a cool. I love stuff like that because it really is nostalgic for me. This was the old advanced search. This is the only like way you could search things. Was shiny, yes or no? I'm surprised they had egg group back then. Is that true? That honestly seems too good to be true. Item listings. Look at that Christmas present. 140k. Skill swap TM. Everstones were 16 to 20k back then. 16k Everstone. Look at all these TMs being super cheap. Your listings. I love the screenshots. Dude, this is a really cool. I'm so glad this exists. What a cool little, great question to send us down a memory trip, dude, a memory lane. I'm glad you asked that, dude. Yeah, someone said 341,528 listings, and none of mine are selling. Feels bad, man. This is definitely the slowest market I've seen in 5 years, I want to say, a few years. And on top of that, it's the slowest market we've seen in a long time. And on top of that, prices are down. It's rough. We're waiting for event season. I'm hoping for an alpha. We need a lot of things, man. I'm a big positive. I like to be a positive force in the PokeMMO space. But when things have problems, we got to talk about them to fix them, right? I think we need to see an alpha nerf this event season. I think we need event season to bring demand and actually have people want to build Pokemon. it is normal that, now, to be fair, we have a lot of problems, but it is normal in the 2 to 3 months leading up to event season, the market slows down. That's normal because people are saving. People are saving their Pokeyen for the event season. They're saving to invest. They're saving to play the events, do the things, right? Like, it is very, very normal that things slow down right now, right? So don't think of that as that crazy, but it's also the slowdown on top of Pokemon are worth less than ever, on top of things are a little extra slow because of lack of demand, on top of, yeah, there's a lot of on top ofs right now. We need an alpha nerf, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I see as the main issue right now. I'm hoping we see that. I'm hoping we see something like that. And yeah, right now we're just waiting for event season. A lot of people are waiting for event season, and you got to really just make your own goals right now, and also make your own goals that don't cost a lot of Pokeyen, which that's even harder, you know. So, and also money making methods are less good. Like right now, like the main money making methods you got to do are like pure yen methods, like gym reruns. If you're doing gym reruns, trainer reruns, berry farming, you're good. If you're not doing those things, it's a lot harder to make Pokeyen right now, almost around the board. This is a really good point, Benny, and I try to word myself carefully to not, you know, get into things I don't believe. Bendy says, as someone who loves breeding for profit, it hurts, but on the bright side, there's still some money in niche markets like semi-comps or egg moves or raid mons. Yes. Whenever breeding for profit is harder right now. So my title yesterday for my stream recap is breeding for profit harder right now. Yes. That doesn't mean it's undoable. You can still breed some good profit and make breeds for profit and do really well. And like there, you know, there's a lot of, don't get me wrong, it's just a lot harder, I would say, for sure. And that's not great. Okay, I'm gonna have to XP train this thing for a freaking while to get it to enough happiness to evolve it. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and call it here, actually, fellas. I will have to see you guys tomorrow on stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon videos every single day. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET on Twitch. YouTube's down, or sorry, Discord down below if you're interested in that. And you want to go above and beyond and join the community. You want to support my content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Prime, Switch subs, PayPal, Venmo, Factor as well. But otherwise, just have a great week, have a great time, play some Pokemon, have fun. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Thanks for watching the stream as always. Peace, Reno. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here, and I wanted to take this time to say thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports my channel. Your names are all listed here. You make it possible for me to make helpful and mildly entertaining content for the game that I love and make it available for free for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for allowing me to even be here.